There will come a point where eventually all of your peers, your coworkers, your schoolmates, your classmates, whatever, will associate you as a fragrance lover. And it will become a point where they expect you to show up every day smelling good and likely smelling like something different almost each time. And the reason why is because when you really look at it these days, not as many guys are taking advantage of wearing fragrances as much as we may think. You know, when you're in this community, in this hobby, you might think that everyone's wearing one, right? Because we're all talking about them. But in reality, think about it next time. When you're out and about, how many other colognes do you really smell? It may not be all that much. Of course, it could depend on where you live and where you're going, etc. But a lot of times, you may be that one guy that just always smells good, and that's a good thing. But what if you really want to take it to the next level and you want to impress these people? I mean, you got to think, when you show up smelling great every day, they're going to get accustomed to it. They're going to get used to the types of things you're wearing. So if you want to take it to the next level and you really want to impress your peers and your friends and everyone around you, these are some scents that you can take advantage of to kind of move up to that next level. I'll drop some links to these down below if you want to do some shopping around and you want to pick some of these up for yourself. We're trying to keep it designer priced here. So designer prices right around $100 and under. Let's get things kicked off with Prada L'Homme Low. So you can see the blue backing there. This is one of the flankers. It's got iris, neroli, and powdery notes. Yes, powdery notes. They actually listed off on the note breakdown of this one apparently. Really, what Prada L'Homme Low is it's pretty much 90% Prada L'Homme, but it's even fresher, even brighter, even more citrusy. So you could even think of this as basically a summertime version of Prada L'Homme if Prada L'Homme wasn't summery enough for you. Now, in general, I view this DNA as an any time of the year, any situation type of signature scent. Prada L'Homme will work for anything. But again, if you want a fresher and brighter one, and even one that backs off on a little bit of the powderiness, even though this has powdery notes listed, Low would be the way to go. It's a little bit more brighter and fresh, and it doesn't have quite as much of that sweet little kick that you get from the original Prada L'Homme, which again is still very soapy and clean. This one also backs off on the soapiness and just focuses more on the citrus here. Smells fantastic. It's easy to wear. It's easy to get along with, and people will love this stuff. It's going to smell super classy, and it's very much the type of scent that garners those wow reactions in the sense of, you know, that smells great. That smells very upscale and classy, and just in a different way. Next up, we have Hugo Boss The Scent Le Parfum. I've been loving this stuff lately here as we've been finishing off wintertime, and now officially we're into spring. It's got manica fruit, iris, and leather in here along with some woody notes. Fantastic stuff. It's a great flanker, great addition to the line, and a great addition to your collection if you are a fan of the scent lineup and you don't have this one yet. One that you should not skip out on. Maybe there's a few that you could do without, like Hugo Boss The Scent Pure Accord. That one you could probably skip. Even the original you could probably get away with skipping. But when it comes to some of these others like Absolute, Private Accord, the new Magnetic, and this one, they're all must-haves if you can get them. A couple of those there that I mentioned are getting a little bit harder to find, like Private Accord, but it is worth hunting down. And if you are on the hunt for any rare, discontinued, or hard-to-find scents, I have a mailing list you can sign up at the first link down below. Doing so ensures that anytime something like that does come in stock, you will get an email notification for it, because sometimes the email notifications that the discounters send out that you can sign up for don't really work. Mine do work because I check the websites every day myself and I make sure of it. So if you want to have a fighting chance of getting at something like that before it does sell out, hit the first link down below and sign up. One of my all-time favorite scents in my collection, Guerlain L'Homme Idéal Eau de Parfum. Sure, maybe not a designer, but it's a designer priced, right around $94 currently. Generally, that's the sweet spot for this one. It tends to be anywhere from 80 to 100. Sometimes, if you've been on the mailing list, testers came in stock of this one a while back for an unbeatable price. It's been $80 for testers, and there was a point where testers of this, I think, came in stock for even a bit less than 80. I can't remember for sure, but I think it was. Ultimately, this one's shown up for great deals before, but even at the $90, $94 range that it's at right now, it's still an absolute steal in my opinion. This one's got almond, it's got cherry, it has vanilla, smells fantastic. It's classy to the maximum. This to me is a gentleman's scent if you want to smell luxurious and high-end and well put together. There's something about that almond cherry mixture that just makes this one stand apart from everything else. It's a big head turner. People love it because it is different, and this is definitely one that's going to impress people around you. This next one might get labeled as generic, might get thrown into that crowd. Personally though, I think it's amazing. It's a flanker to the original, which started out as an eau de parfum. It's Ralph's Club Parfum by Ralph Lauren. So again, the original, an eau de parfum. This is the new parfum flanker with lavender, apple, and some vetiver. So it very much does focus on the aromatics, just like the eau de parfum does. Nothing has changed there. However, it truly is more mature, more refined, maybe even more masculine, some might say, because of the more focus on the woods, like the vetiver and that sort of thing. There's even a little bit, ever so slightly, of a warm spiciness. Not a ton, you know, it still very much is aromatic and clean and just overall very versatile, easy to wear, just kind of fits in that style. But there's just more substance and base to this one. And at the end of the day, if you're looking for something that is going to be more of an interesting wearing experience between the two, I would go Parfum all day long, every day. And if you are between the two, you don't have either of them yet, you want to pick one up, I would get the Parfum. I'm biased, of course, because I tend to really enjoy parfums a lot. However, I have no affiliation or attachment to this scent. I purchased both of them myself, but I do prefer the Parfum. I think, generally speaking, the brands can kind of get a better idea of what will work better after releasing one or two flankers, or sometimes three or four like we've seen from other brands. And so generally the flankers are just more refined and more well executed a lot of the time. This is no exception. Next up, we have Tom Ford Costa Azzurra. Haven't talked about this one in a while, so I figured I would go ahead and throw it up here. It's got driftwood, lemon, seaweed in here. Interesting note breakdown. This one has blown me away and intrigued me since the very beginning. I first got this one as the private blend, still have it in a 50 ml bottle, and immediately fell in love with it. To me, it was something special. To me, it still is something special and unique. They have now discontinued the private blend, but re-released it in the signature line, which actually works to your advantage because it's more affordable in the signature line here. They also have a Parfum. I'm just talking the original right here. This one right here with the clear kind of see-through bottle, not the all gold one like the Parfum, just, you know, this one. It's the most affordable one. To me, there isn't a huge jump from going between this to the Parfum, so in a lot of instances, I would just say, get this one. Performs fine. It's not a beast mode scent, but it does get the job done. It's kind of an aquatic marine style scent, but mature to the max and classy to the max. It is an upscale marine scent, and you don't get that often. Versace Pour Homme Oud Noir. It's all about the oud. It's all about the saffron, some other woods going on in here. Very classy, very elegant, and one that is for sure to impress people around you. Because, again, like we talked about, most guys aren't wearing fragrances in general, much less something like this, which, you know, for the average consumer would be something they would not want to touch. This would be very daring and challenging to a lot of guys who you will find just walking into Sephora or Ulta and picking out something. This is not something they're going to go for. So this is where you come into play. You want something different, you want something unique, and ultimately you want something that's really going to turn heads and impress people, something that shows that you're able to try new things and to stand out and not be afraid to do so. That's what this one will do. And at the end of the day, guys, this really isn't hard to pull off at all. A lot of people may think it is, but once you start wearing this one around, you'll get comfortable with it very quickly, and you'll realize that just because there's a little bit of oud in here doesn't mean it's something that is going to disgust people. In fact, quite the opposite. Next up, we have DIOR Eau Sauvage Parfum. This one's got citron, lavender, and vetiver in here. Very much a classic, more of an old school scent. However, Not as much as you may think. Dior and Chanel are two huge designer brands that have done a great job at kind of modernizing scents like this and ultimately keeping them smelling, relevant to some extent. So I'm talking Dior, Eau Sauvage, all of the versions, even though they did come out a long time ago, like the original, some of the other flankers, they have been around for a while. They're done in such a way where they don't necessarily smell like it. I mean, yeah, they do have a dated feel, but not in a bad way. These are still easy to pull off. And over on the Chanel side, Egoist and Platinum Egoist, two scents that kind of go after that older, more traditional style, but still in a modern way. It's incredible, and not a lot of designer brands really do it like that. There are some out there that have some really old school smelling scents, and they don't try to hide it at all. It's not a bad thing, but I do think Dior and Chanel have done a great job at kind of making these more accessible overall, and Eau Sauvage Parfum is no exception. This is not going to be getting a lot of attention from your average consumer, so you can step in, pull this off, and really stand out. And also, no one's going to be wearing Brioni Eau de Parfum Intense either, or even the original Eau de Parfum for that matter. So this is another great way to go. It's got apple, oud, and tangerine. Nice unique take on this DNA. It does stray a bit from the Eau de Parfum, much more sweet. The oud in here is not at all challenging. In fact, you don't even necessarily get a ton of it. There's just sweetness and fruitiness. A lot of apple in here, mixing with that kind of sweet orange tangerine accord. Really well done, unique, not a whole lot else like it, so it kind of does stand on its own aside from maybe a little bit of a comparison to the original, just that ozonic type of smell and clean freshness, but this kind of does do its own thing, so there's no redundancy between the two at the end of the day, which is always a plus. Between the two, this one probably would be a little bit more challenging just because it is much more different than what you would expect to see on the men's designer market. That being said, it's not a bad thing at all. Really will make you stand out in a great way. And for me, I don't know, there's just something quite satisfying about this one that I really like a lot. Great quality, great performance. I hope Brioni continues to put out scents like this because they've done a great job so far. Running down to the end, second to last, we have Robert Graham Fortitude. I don't know if you can see on the bottom, but there it is. Completely custom presentation on all three of their fragrances. I love all of them. They're all great. Again, there's only three of them, but all three are amazing. Tobacco, vanilla, and patchouli are the only three notes that they do give you here with this one. Really all you need to know. You get all three of those to a pretty heavy extent. Tobacco being the main forefront here, which is why I like it so much. I love me a good tobacco scent. And this also is nothing like any of the others that I have. It's not like any of the Spice Bombs. It's not like PDM Herod. It's not like Mancera Red Tobacco. It's not like Dolce & Gabbana The One. All of the big popular tobacco scents that you might think of when you think of tobacco, this doesn't smell like any of them, which is great because you don't really need redundancy in your collection. Maybe you do. I have it. It's okay sometimes, but other times you just don't want anything to do with a bunch of redundancy. This one is not. It's a really nice mixture here. Tobacco, patchouli, a little bit of a sweetness, but not too much. Kind of an earthiness, but not a ton either. There's just a lot of balance with this one overall. On discounters, I want to say it's in the $60 to $70 range, which personally, if you're asking me, is great bang for your buck. Retail, I think it's $90 or $95, so you are saving a pretty good amount there off of the retail price at discounters, and it's worth picking up if you are into tobacco scents. This is one you should check out for sure, and you will stand out. And last up for this video, we have an ISSEY MIYAKE scent. There's a whole bunch of them to choose from, a lot of which, unfortunately, are getting a little bit hard to find, so I didn't include any of those. I could have included like Polaris or ISSEY MIYAKE Nuit d'ISSEY Parfum or Incense or Noir Ombre, a ton of them. Those are all hard to get, but I wanted to feature one that you could go out and purchase right now, and so ultimately I landed on L'Eau d'ISSEY Pour Homme Intense, which is actually a little bit more fitting for the spring season that we are now in officially. It's got yuzu, incense, nutmeg, and orange in here. And to be fair, there's a lot of other notes as well. There's just really no need in featuring all of them because personally, the notes that I just listed off are kind of the main players to me. And the yuzu is no surprise. That's what this line is built off of. But what I really like is the incense. It's something that you don't see utilized nearly enough, in my opinion, when it comes to fresher scents. I mean, Bleu de Chanel has done it, and they kind of pioneered it. At least that's what I think of when I think of incense with citrus and freshness, right? But aside from that, and this, and maybe a few others that I'm missing off the top of my head, it isn't done nearly as much. Incense is almost always paired with, you know, tobaccos and tonka beans and other sweet notes and wintertime scents. But to see it in more of a spring summer oriented scent is something I like a lot, and automatically it makes it more unique, and that's what I love about this one. Nice, easy to wear, great mass appeal, affordable on discounters, and the best part is this has really good performance, above average for the low Dissy flankers, which are a little bit weak these days, and just in general above average with other spring and summertime scents. This one really gets a job done, around 8 hours, amazing stuff. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 fragrances that are guaranteed to impress your friends, your peers, your coworkers, your colleagues, whoever. They're going to stand out, you're going to smell great, and it's just a way to kind of elevate your game and to help further cement yourself as that dude who just always smells amazing. Links will be down below, and again, if any of these are a little bit hard to get, or just in general, whatever you can think of that might be hard to get that you have an interest in getting, La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, DIOR Homme Parfum, Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Extreme, Dolce & Gabbana The One Luminous Night, and things of that nature, DIOR Fahrenheit Parfum. Everything that I listed off there has come in stock multiple times, and each time it has, I've sent out an email. So if you want to be on the list to get notified as well, first link down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.